Welcome back to AP World History. This is Chapter 21. We were looking at the three Islamic or uh, Muslim empires in the Middle East and India. By the way, the secret word or words is the Mughal Empire. This was the empire that was established in India under Islamic rule. Uh, Now we backtrack a bit and we look here at the Safavid Empire. The Shah Ismail established the Safavid Empire. Shah Abbas the Great is going to take it to its highest point. Eventually, in about 1722, this empire will collapse because of external pressure and internal pressure. As long as the Safavid Empire existed, it was a thorn in the side of the Ottoman Empire. There were constant battles between these two empires. The Safavid Empire will enlist the Europeans to help them conquer some of the land taken by the Ottoman Empire. They will be instrumental in helping establish the Mughal Empire in India. Of course, we know that the Shiites were the Islamic sect that was in the Safavid Empire, and the Sunni sect being in the Ottoman Empire. And the two just did not mix. And with Shah Abbas' rule, it will again reach its highest point. As most of these rulers came to power, sometimes by evil means. He deposed his father, imprisoned him, and the fellow that helped him come to the throne was killed. Most of the Safavid Empire is going to be expanded. This further borders will be under Shah Abbas the Great. This shows a picture of the Safavid Empire bordered by the Mughal Empire in the east and the Ottoman Empire in the west. In terms of religious freedoms, they weren't nearly as enlightened as the Mughal Empire and the Ottoman Empire. They were very repressive. Women lost many of what rights might have existed were taken away. Women are seen as property and to be hidden away. Where in the Mughal Empire it was a little bit more progressive for women. Probably of the three empires, it showed the most consideration for women. The Safavid Empire being the most repressive towards women and other religions. Isfahan is going to be the capital of the Safavid Empire, and it will be the official site of the Shiite religion. A mosque built there to commemorate that. Now we're going to switch our attention to the Mughal Empire in India. Babur is the first to take parts of India, particularly the northern half of India, in 1523 and 1526. Mughal was an Indian word meaning Mongols. One thing that Babur will follow is that the Islamic faith believes in equality among believers. And this is going to be a somewhat of a stumbling stone for many of the Hindu Indians. But nonetheless, there's going to be some toleration of the different religions within the Mughal Empire. They are willing to let Hindus worship as they please, as long as they are loyal to the government. Humayun was Babur's son, and he's going to succeed his father, Babur, This shows again the picture of Babur in coming to the throne of India. In far as Humana is concerned, he will consolidate rule by conquest. He was very interested in the science and the arts. In fact, it was reported that he fell downstairs carrying books and killed himself. Interesting way to die. Akbar the Great was the grandson of Babur. Again, he will try to expand the borders of India, or the Mughal Empire, into southern India. Again, he issues a policy of religious tolerance. In fact, he married a Hindu princess. It's interesting to note when the Islamic faith extended religious freedom to people within the empire, they seem to have done much better than when they were more restrictive. Akbar's palace here, very elaborate. And again, this is one of the characteristics of Islamic rule, is that a great display of power to the people by building things. Shah Jahan ruled in 1628. He's best known for building the Taj Mahal, which is a collection of Islamic, Indian, the Ottoman and Persian architecture, and just rolled into one. Very elaborate. If you go to India, it's one of the big tourist things. And this is located in Agra, India. Picture of the Taj Mahal. Very beautiful palace, a shrine to his wife. Aurangzeb is his successor. He's not going to have as an easy rule. One, because he tries to eradicate Hindu religion, and he wanted the Indians to convert to Islam. One of the problems with this is that it's going to cause political unrest, and this will open the doors for Europeans to come in later. A couple of things that he did try to do. The Sati was a ceremony in which a Hindu widow was thrown on the fire with her husband, her dead husband. He tried to eliminate that practice, but was unsuccessful. He also levied high taxes, leveling illegal taxes, gambling, and drinking. He wanted to eliminate that. Of course, they all imposed taxes to support their government. The death of his father, Shah Jahan, in 1658. As far as his rule is concerned, Aurangzeb is going to experience some problems from the Europeans. Sir Walter Cleave is going to be the first representative of the British East India Company that's going to get some concessions from the Mughal Empire. Eventually, after 1750, they are going to have a systematic campaign of taking over all of India and bringing it under control. And it will be under the British East India control, and then later it will be transferred to the British government control. The Indians will continue to battle and resent Europeans infringing on their territory, but to no avail. It won't be until the 20th century, after World War II, that India will gain its full independence. In terms of women in the Mughal Empire, certainly the most enlightened. They were able to hold property, conduct business. They are often advisors and warriors. They had some restrictions in terms of the Islamic law, usually in the upper crust, the ruling class. But under the Mughal Empire, India is going to remain Hindu, and it is today. Certainly, under the Mughal Empire, they were interested in art and architecture. Um, Most of the paintings show action figures engaged in warfare or one activity or another. Um, in some ways, they were a little more receptive to European ideas, far more than the Safavids and the Ottomans. Why did they come to an end? These three, if you were going to look at these three empires, uh, a lot of money was spent on fighting among themselves or against Europeans or outside forces. They spent lavish amounts of money to impress the people, which put high taxes on people, and people resent paying taxes, uh, and they lose. The government loses support. A lot of the power was not necessarily through the Shah or the Sultan. It was more the people residing behind the scenes. The Janissaries are the loyal bodyguard to the Shah or the Sultan, but really they are the power behind the throne in the Ottoman Empire. And the Safavid, more their advisors behind the scenes that call the shots. Their empires did well when they tolerated other religions, not so well when they put restrictions on religions. This was true of the Mughals in India when they were trying to convert the Indian population to Islamic beliefs. We look at the Ottoman Empire, we saw that under the Mullah, they tolerated Jewish and Christian beliefs, Safavid being the least intolerant. Probably one of the problems that they faced was that they did not adopt new technology from the West, and this is going to put them at a tremendous disadvantage in terms of opposing the West. They saw things a little different in terms of trade. Where the Europeans wanted to occupy and control, that was somewhat true of the Islamic, but they were much more interested in making a profit, establishing good relations with other parts of the world so that they could make a profit. With the exception probably of the Ottoman Empire, which imposed itself in the Mediterranean. The other two empires were far more interested in making a profit and not necessarily expanding overseas. And we'll stop right there, and hopefully this has been enlightening.